It's in case you guys don't know, you need at least a minimum of 5,330 to buy a minimum grocery.
Choice as to how you handle your finances. The cost of living is too high simply based on your expenses. When you are one person who likes a luxurious life, of course, the cost of living will hit you based on where you decide to go and shop.
It's just a simple fact that's showing you that cost of living is too high. Like back in the day, our grandmothers, great-grandmothers used to have 10 of them, used to have 12 of them, and they were affording. Wait a minute, they were affording very nicely and very easily. Now, you want to limit people to having one child.
When we do the math, they're saying they will pay at least 27 rand in an hour. You do your maths there. It doesn't even get to 5,000. It's less than 5,000.
4,000 something.
I'm telling you, yet they want you to can at least have 5,330 to afford.
Prices are ridiculously high in South Africa. In other words, the cost of living, hey guys, nige naibona land good. Hey bafethu, kuyadura ukudla shop. Hey, kuyadura ukudla shop. Hey, maybe you think otherwise, I don't know. Maybe you think ukudla kudura shop, I don't know. Maybe when I shaman can agree with me, hey, it's in case you guys don't know, you need. As of now, there's a research that was conducted by Eyewitness News. In fact, an article published by Eyewitness News. It was published on the 22nd of March 2024 at about 3:09. The article was released by Celeste Martin. It says you need at least a minimum of 5,330 to buy a minimum grocery. Well, I'm gonna break it down for you. Don't worry, but I know they wanna talk because others think, the cost of living are not high that much, man. Maybe we can reduce it this way. What's your take?
You're definitely right over there when you're saying that cost of living is too high. It's definitely too high. Because according to the article that I'm looking at right now that I read, Business Tech, it says that South Africans are turning to balloon payments as many battle with affordability caused by high interest rates, but many are unaware of the potential pitfalls and may end up paying off their cars for longer than initially planned. And as you go down here, I like the fact that it says that the bank's data reveals that new vehicle purchases, including balloon payments, have jumped by 41% over the past 5 years. A balloon payment functions like a deferred debt that consumers can opt to move to the end of their contract. We're just drowning in more debt because cost of living is just too high.
It's ridiculously high.
I really have to disagree with you on that one. An article written by EcoFlow clearly does state that the cost of living in South Africa depends on the number of your dependents and the life that you wish to live. Yes, wages can also be low, so it is essential to understand the cost and that how they suit your budget.
I totally object.
Okay, before you object, it's fine, let me grant you.
Let me just add more point in this thing to show you how much the cost of living is too high. I read an article, EcoFlow, it's from the EcoFlow. Now they are saying that at least if you want to survive, if you want to be a person considered as an affording person, you should at least be earning 12,000 plus. If you are having a family of 4, they are saying at least have 38,000 plus. That's when you are living in Durban.
Wait. You are saying it's also subject to geographics.
Yes, it also does. Have an impact as to where you live. Also checking Cape Town, they are also talking about something 60,000 plus if you have a family of 4. Now that's when you can say you are starting to afford in South Africa. So that proves the cost of living is too high.
Just to add.
Okay. You wanted to say something.
Yes.
I know you want to add.
When you speak on the cost of living being way too high, each and every single person decides to forget that you have got a choice as to how you handle your finances.
Oh my goodness.
The cost of living is too high simply based on your expenses. When you are one person who likes a luxurious life, of course, the cost of living will hit you based on where you decide to go and shop.
I definitely object. I definitely object.
Granted.
Look, I mean, it's not a matter of how you handle your finances here. It's not a matter of that at all, because everyone,
Object.
according to Business Tech, it says that everyone is forced. It's a crime not to pay tax back. So everyone is forced to pay to return tax. If you
I
earn
object.
more than 500,000 annually, like look at how much people are earning right now. If you know that your amount is 500,000 annually and more than, you are forced. So where is the choice there?
Now,
There's no choice.
The very same article that I said in the beginning, it continues to say, this amount includes toiletries, transport cost to and fro supermarket and electricity as well. So the 530 that I was talking about, all those things, the toiletries and everything is excluded. You are just talking about your food. Now they continue to say, it's a very interesting article, right? It continues to say, you see a pattern of people sacrificing vegetables, right, and some other things because they can't afford. So they will look at it and be like, it's very expensive. So sooner, I'm going to tell you the things that you can buy, some of the items that when they were doing the research, they said, these are the things that you can buy at 5,530.
So I understand what you're talking about. Now, we also have to look at your earnings as well and how you maneuver through your earnings. When we get a deeper dive into the average salary, especially in a city like Johannesburg, EcoFlow once again provides us with such numbers. When it comes to essential plates in our monthly salaries, yes, they do vary and they do range simply based on the place where you reside in. Now, when we look at Johannesburg, it is estimated that an average salary for a family of 4 has to be 28,000. That is an average salary of which a person who has a family of 4 in Johannesburg can afford. So in that 28,000, they now have to come back again and live within their budget. So what is
Point of correction on that one.
So when we talk about their budget,
Noted.
Property 24 now again comes up and provide them with a 3-bedroom apartment ranging at for Johannesburg at 8,500. When you come in at 8,500, you know that for a household that earns 28,000, there is still a large chunk of money remaining. So now what you do, or rather what people who earn such amounts of money, they ensure that the children go to schools that they can afford. You know, they do not spend money unnecessarily. And then their cost of transportation only becomes 10% to 16% of their salary, ensuring that they are remaining with something in their account.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I was listening to what you were saying, and I'm hearing more of the word earning. So correct me if I'm wrong. But then earning has to do with the process where one is working and they get paid for what they are saving, right?
Yes.
Now, but then I was reading somewhere. There's a website. Let me check the website. The website says there are more people. South Africa, they have more people taking loan. Like there's more people who are taking loan because of lack of jobs. So I don't get what you mean.
No, Ted, I know you want to say something.
I don't get what you mean when you are saying earning. Whereas they are saying there are more people taking loans simply because there's lack of jobs.
All right.
Yeah, just to add on to that as well, you mentioned something about an average family of 4 in Johannesburg City.
Yes.
And yet the stats says that 51% of South Africans depend on grant money. Like literally, where is that 28,000 that you're talking about coming from? Mind you, here's an article that talks about an average family that has to borrow money for them to just sustain life itself. They live literally on debt so that they can buy simple food. I mean, ShopRite is doing the most by putting maize meal, making sure that maize meal is always on a special off, because that is something that can fill your stomach. At the end of the day, people are just fighting they are eating to satiate hunger. That's it. And to be full, that's it. Because they can't afford anything other than food.
I'm glad to hear you now saying things positive about ShopRite. The clear fact that now you know that they are making sure that a maize meal is cheaper. Now, kudos to ShopRite. Now, listen to this one, guys. These are the things, 14 items that your money, if you have 5,300, this is what you can afford. It's brown bread, salt, white sugar, cooking oil, cabbage, yeast, flour, maize meal, rice, sugar beans, curry powder, tea, beef stock, soup. Those are items we are talking about when we talk about general basic things that you can afford at 5,330. The other time I went to Pick and Pay, so I usually buy their muesli, right? So the other time, I'm like, I know with this thing I got it around 51 rand, 61 rand if I'm not mistaken. Oh, the other time I get there, this thing is 71 rand. 10 rand added. I went there, then look, within a space of 30 days, then 10 rand was added.
Cost of living too high.
Cost of living is not too high. When you look at, I still go back to my point, and then I want you to actually flow with me on this one. When you look at majority of the households in South Africa, what is the common denominator? People living in informal settlements rather have over 3 children or over 4 children, well knowing that they cannot afford. That is what you now call a financial burden upon yourself. Now, the system is now designed in a way whereby you have to live within your means if you are earning a certain amount of money. When you now out here saying that I want to have more children, more offspring, because it is my right as a civil servant, you are now burdening taxpayers. You become that's an interesting liability. Point. You become a liability. So what now we are saying is that live within your means, and you will not cry about the cost of living being way too high.
That's a very interesting point.
I object on that one. Strongly object.
But it's okay. Guys, this information is brought to you free, guys. This information is brought to you free of charge.
If you're busy filtering your life right now, subscribe.
Hit us with unscripted debate. If you don't want, leave it.
And be sure to engage with us in the comment section and share with your friends and families.
Because we are
Unfiltered Debate.
Wait a minute, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I actually wanted to talk about you are limiting people how many children they should give birth to. That is just a simple fact that's showing you that cost of living is too high. Like back in the day, our grandmothers, great-grandmothers used to have 10 of them, used to have 12 of them, and they were affording. Wait a minute, they were affording very nicely and very easily. Now, you want to limit people to having one child. It's proof that cost of living is too high.
So you are saying cost of living, it directly affects reproduction.
Nature itself, like it's fighting. That's how high it is.
That's how high.
So you can't give birth like your mkhulu lapha, shanga isithembu lapha na ushanga abafazi abawu3. Wena usafuna polygamy. You need to prepare 5,000 rand times 3 if you've got wives. That's just you buying. That's you buying minimum grocery, by the way.
In our economy, you need that. I was listening to you. You're saying that at least have 5,000.
330. To be specific, I said 500. 330 rand.
To afford basics.
You are still buying basic grocery.
The things that you need as a person.
Are you coming? We're gonna give
Yeah. Just to get the things that you need as a person to survive, you need that much. Now,
excluding toiletries and anything, we are just talking about food.
It's tough. So I was doing the stats. The stats are very simple. We work 8 hours a day in South Africa. That's the normal working hours. And that's 5 days a week. And when we do the math, they're saying they will pay at least 27 rand in an hour. You do your maths there. It doesn't even get to 5,000. It's less than 5,000.
4,000 something.
I'm telling you, yet they want you to can at least have 5,330 to afford. So the cost of living is greatly too high.
You know,
Okay.
when I come back to answering Ushamin on the issues of farmer loans, you fail to also mention that when people go to the banks, they don't just go to the bank and make a loan to buy groceries. No. These people go to the banks to fund their businesses so that they can employ more people. Now, when I say employ more people, I am now taking a dive into the informal economy of South Africa. That today, by the daily investor.com, it says that 180 billion annually has been made in the spaza shops. And then now you want to tell me that the economy in South Africa is too much for people to handle, when surely you can see that there is so much money maneuvering within the informal settlement. It also comes in now to show you that the informal economy in South Africa, it produces about 750 billion annually. This is not just talking about the spaza shop. It also coming in to talk about your special places.
Special guys are makota.
Yes, the quota. Sorry for us, we're from Pretoria.
Now, guys, I was surprised when I go to Pretoria. You hear people talking about special. I'm like, hey, he quota.
So this just is a dive as well as to when you go to Blood, you find the ladies on the streets, they are selling. There's so much money generated from that, but because you are speaking on recorded books, your stats are only valid when it comes to recorded. Now you are not talking about the ones that are now informally.
I wonder. It's
okay.
fine. Before I let you in, I wonder if he's not affected by this cost of living.
I also want to. Let me come down.
I live within my means. I live within my budget.
Okay, my brother, let me help you over there. Let me come down now. You're saying I'm talking about the books, right? Let me just hint you a bit about. Let me read this first. In business tech, it says Lightstone Property has warned that the number of negative sales, where houses are sold for less than they were bought for, is on the rise in South Africa. This was revealed by the data firm's property newsletter for May 2024, which properties are selling for significantly less, especially for those who bought their homes 10 years ago. Imagine, we know that houses appreciate
property usually appreciate in value.
In value, it doesn't depreciate.
Yes.
So if houses are depreciating, imagine when it comes
my
to
brother,
cars.
you must be convinced.
And
This one must surely convince you.
Wait. Before I even go there and specify, let me come down here. We're talking about load shedding. Are you surviving in that load shedding, or you are spending more than you should have? And also fuel petrols, the fuel prices as well. Come on.
All right, as we are now coming to an end, right? I know a lot of you guys would have expected this episode to go a bit longer. We can only give it now maybe 2 minutes as we wrap up in this 2 minutes. But looking at this, like now as we conclude, seriously, don't you think that maybe these facts are convincing enough to say cost of living really, guys? Icon.
Well,
it's too high.
One conversation that I had with a man, he said to me, if you cannot buy it cash, you cannot afford it. Therefore, it is not yours. Now, this just goes to show you that living within your means gives you a nice and easy life in order for you to avoid financial trauma.
Okay, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was sitting down, I was listening, and I was thinking, how can I back him up? But then this one I saw, it's a tough one. This one is true, man. The cost of living is too high. Affording in this economy of ours is too high. Affording comes with comfort. If you buy and you are uncomfortable, you are not affording, my brother.
Okay.
I would like to end by saying the poor continue to get
poor people are-
We get it.
Poor people are continuing to getting poorer.
If you were poor 3 years back, you're
Still
still poor even now.
So chances are you have gone
Chances
three
are
times deeper into your poverty.
Because you have more children.
Hope is very slim.
You have more
Hope is very
dependents.
slim because cost of living. What you are saying about living within your means, it doesn't make sense because you are getting poorer. You can't afford.
Yeah, but let me bring this to you. Yes, we are coming to an end, but let me bring this to you. You see, stats says over 51% of South Africans lives on grant. So if, for instance, you calculate the grant and you say it's let's round it off and say there's granny and there's grandmother and grandfather, right? So each they're earning 2,000. If you round it off, it gives you how much? 4,000.
4,000 years.
Yeah, look, let's say they are living with an unemployed guy or young man there, or maybe 2 or 3 of them, right? Already the grant is not enough for them to buy a minimum grocer. So if it's not enough for them to buy a minimum grocer, surely these people, yes, they might be living. Yeah, look, what you are saying, live within your means, it's no longer applicable to them because already life is at minus to them. There's that balance of 1,330 that they need to buy food, minimum grocer. And on top of that, they also now need to buy toiletries. How are you expecting them to survive? How are you expecting them to progress with life? So it means that their life will always be at minus. They can't. So that's operating on minus, zero, minus. It's something around that.
Already
it cannot be on plus or at least on a point where you say it's even, or there are somewhere, man, where you say, okay, you can either choose to go negative or positive. But now they are not even there. They are just operating on minus. So what would you say to those people?
Well, what I can say to those people is that there are these stores, as we have touched on previous episodes, that stores like ShopRite, they ensure that even if there is inflation within the economy, but essential things such as maize meal, braai pack, the essential foods that really are a necessity remain at a lower price. That is why, and it's also we're looking at the fight towards poverty. Government, beyond the social grants, it offers this young boy who is not working the opportunity to actually go to school by providing NSFAS for him. So it's not just subjected, to social grants, to SASSA grants. No, there are more programs that we can give people the opportunity to say, you know what, please go out there. There are also programs that are provided by government to help grow you and give you the skill that you need, so that when you go out into the work field, you carry out a certificate from those programs that are rendered by the government. So you are not on your own. There are programs in place to ensure that when you are studying under the government, stipends are given. So you are not subjected
is healthcare
to poverty.
included? Is healthcare included in what you are mentioning?
Yes, healthcare. The NHI has been implemented. We do have hospitals like Steve Biko that intake our fellow citizens and give them the quality healthcare that they deserve for free of charge. You see,
I heard him saying. I heard him saying.
I'm sticking on what I'm saying. Affordability comes with comfort. If you are not comfortable, you are not affording. You are trying. You are surviving.
Yeah, we can say, we can debate it all day long, but maybe the best way one can look at it is that when I say they are operating at minus already, I'm looking at life from this perspective. Even if then you are saying there's going to be an NHI that says your poor brother can go to this one, your poor sister can go to this one, your grandmother can go to this one. But then they don't have the transport to even go to the hospital. Remember, the income that they get is already at minus, right? We're starting there. Say, for instance, there's this child who's graduated, he's supposed to get what? A free education to look at university, right? Because university is free. The money to go and register is not even there because they're operating at minus. The money for them to mind you, I've just spoken about registration. Well, transportation to get to the university itself is also a problem. Remember, they are operating at minus. When this person gets there, they need toiletries. There's no money. Remember, they are operating at minus. Even if the government is giving them from a primary level, the education is free. To the university, the education is free. The healthcare is free. Fine. But human beings, those are not only their necessity. There are more things that human beings need just for survival. We haven't talked about thriving, just for survival. So from me, on this episode, I am with them. Cost of living, guys, is too high.
It's definitely high. I mean, fuel prices went up. That's a complaint over there. Healthcare as well. You can't even afford healthcare. You're just struggling all the way through.
I'd like to
homes
put out a point
like
of
have just
correction.
depreciated.
Yes.
Like everything around you during load shedding, now you have to spend unnecessarily again because there's load shedding. I mean, come on, everything is just so expensive.
We will do an episode just on the impact of load shedding. How we suffer crimes during load shedding. How much job losses we are experiencing because of load shedding. Like how it has affected the GDP because of load shedding. Like we'll do a separate episode on that one. So the load shedding one, don't entertain it now. You can entertain anything else she said. Load shedding is an episode on itself.
Yes. Well, I just like to remind Ms. Charmaine that majority times before we get people to convince them that the cost of living is too high, let's avoid creating excuses. Yes, there may be people who are living on -0, but do not lose at the sight that there are steps that are put in place to ensure that we assist. The government is assisting how they can, where they can. For those that are unable to, what you have to do is meet the government halfway. You don't necessarily have to become a burden, but make life easier for you and make it more easier to the people that are trying to help you so that you can live within the cost of living.
Do you agree that the cost of living is too high?
It is too high if you do not.
No, point.
That's the problem.
That's it.
If you do not live
That's
within your
it.
means.
Cost of living is too high.
No, it's too high. It doesn't matter what you say. At the end of the day, it's too high. You are born a black man, it's in 1 knot. It's already 1 knot. You live in Limpopo, 2 knot. So it doesn't matter what you say. The cost of living is too high.
So basically, as a black person, you are born at a minus.
Already.
It takes time for you to get to a point where you are saying, now we are operating at a point where we say it's even now. That's what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, as a person who is still in his 20s, I can say that, I'm not really at a successful, I'm not in anywhere close to success, but I am able to live. I'm not surviving. I'm able to live because I do not have any dependents under me as to yet.
It's spending. It's spending.
You have to think twice. You have to think twice to go to just a recreational event. Imagine, are you still living or now? It's
hobbies.
just a matter. Now it's just a matter of survival. You are fighting like you are surviving. You are not living.
Well, hobbies are a luxury that we cannot say that we all need at this current moment.
Come on.
Have to live a certain life in order for you to accomplish certain things. If it means that live on these daily 5 rand meals up until you achieve your goal in life, live on those daily 5 rand meals.
Okay.
That's like live on
That's
starch.
what you said there. What you said there. It's called surviving. That's not living, my guy. That's surviving.
As a correct,
Just to get through
and
this
we are talking
day.
about
It's very
cost
simple.
of living.
Yes.
as I correct you guys, I said I'm living.
No, you are surviving. You are surviving, my guy.
You're not living.
Nah,
You are surviving.
Yeah, survival of the fittest.
No, okay, it's fine. No, all right. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. The point here is we will have to do a specific episode on the following one.
Yes.
There is a research that has been conducted where they look at a person who is sitting somewhere in a shack, somewhere in a township, where they buy food like you see most in a township, somebody's cooking pap, what, somebody's cooking amaotwana lapa. So they did a research and they found, okay, this person will spend less if they buy that food. They buy this pap and amaotwana for spend 4 rand, 6 rand, and they go home and eat. However, we also look at the sustainability of that to say is it something that one can do it? Can you do it if you have a brother and a sister? You're saying every day we're gonna go there and buy there, and also that alone, I think, I'm not a female, but I think females, for instance, will take pride in cooking a meal in their kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
So I don't think that also, I think if we are pushing towards that, it violates human dignity, it violates human rights. The basic human right is that they must be able to exercise their will in the kitchen, turning the ingredient into food. But now, cost of living is taking away that. So we'll do that on the next video. But I will say, in conclusion, this information was brought to you free.
If you're busy filtering your life right now, subscribe.
Hit the like button. Unfiltered debate. If you don't like, just don't like.
Be sure to engage with us in the comment section and share with your friends and family.
Because we are
Unfiltered Debate.